and welcome to Resources for Business Startup, making the best use of online business information resources to start and grow your business. My name is Kavan Stafford. I'm an information officer at BIPC Glasgow, based in the Mitchell Library, and I'll be delivering this session for you today. So, welcome to Startup Day 2020. Now, as I'm doing this today, I'm kind of thinking of last year, last Startup Day, when we really had a fantastic, really busy day in the Mitchell Library, and of course this year, like everything else, Startup Day is a bit different. But we've got a really great online workshop coming up for you just now, and I really hope you enjoy it. I hope you get a lot out of it, and I hope you get a lot out of all the other workshops that are going on through the BIPC network at the moment. So, as you may know, we are back open at the time of recording. Of course, things may have changed by the time you see this, but at the time of recording, we're back open to the public, and we can't wait to welcome you back in. Our opening hours are now Tuesday to Saturday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m, and you can access the BIPC by appointment. So you can email mitchelllibrary@glasgowlife.org.uk, or you can email business@glasgowlife.org.uk to get access to that. So we're offering 4 research spaces in the BIPC a day, and each research space gives you access to a workspace, a PC, business books and periodicals, as well as full access to our online resources as well. And then we can also offer tailored appointments, either in person or by telephone. If you would like to arrange one of those, just email us at business@glasgowlife.org.uk. But of course, things may have changed by the time you see this, and indeed things may change over the coming months, even if they haven't by then. But you should bear in mind that even when the building's closed, we're still open 24/7 online. So all of our online resources are available to some degree online, some more than others. So you can get access to Cobra, IBIS World, Business Standards, or PowerUp resources. Some of them can only be accessed in the library or by emailing us. But if you tell us you would like access, we can arrange that just by emailing us. If you follow us on Twitter at BIPC Glasgow, you'll be kept up to date with what's going on in the BIPC, and you'll be kept up to date with any reopening plans or anything like that if we happen to be closed at the time. And as ever, if you email business@glasgowlife.org.uk, we can give you personalised help with any issues that you may be having. So I'm going to just begin by talking really briefly about our partner organisations. So a lot of these partners previously were in the building with us, but at the moment they are working remotely, but we're still working with them. So Jobs in Business Glasgow and Business Gateway are Glasgow City Council run organisations that can help people with business advice and so on. If you'd like to get in touch with them, just send us a wee email and we can pass you on to them. Creation IP, Gelson Gray, Paris and McNally, these are our experts in residence, so we can give you access to free consultations with IP attorneys, business experts, business lawyers, chartered accountants, and even digital marketing experts as well. So we have a lot of experts in residence available, and they're all working remotely. Most of them are bookable on Eventbrite, some of them are bookable by request. Just check Eventbrite to find out. Before I make a proper start, just to draw your attention to the fact that you will be given some feedback forms for this session and others throughout Startup Day 2020, and we'd really appreciate it if you fill in that feedback and send it back to us. We really appreciate the feedback. We really take it very seriously, and we try and change things to make sure that you're getting what you want out of the BIPC service. So do fill out the feedback. It only takes a few wee minutes and makes a big difference to us. So the aim of this session is to give you an overview of our online business resources and to raise your awareness of any local support in Glasgow and in Scotland, and any remote support as well that's available. And increasingly there's a lot of remote support available as organisations move to a more online setting. Well, at the end, you'll know where to find the information and support that you need to start your business and to consolidate your business. And it'll also build your digital skills and your confidence as well with using online resources and online tools, because we know that not everyone is as comfortable with online tools as other people are. So you see in this slide, there's just a wee list of all our different information resources. So we've got several there. We're not going to cover all of them in as much detail as others. We're going to focus on Cobra, Fame, IBIS World, and our PowerUp resources, but we'll touch on the others, British Standards Online, ProQuest, Law and Business, and Access to Research. We'll touch on those briefly. But if there's anything we haven't covered that you would like more information about, then please do let us know just by emailing us business@glasgowlife.org.uk. All of the resources we look at today are going to be available on the website that you see on your screen now. So it's our LibCat or Library Catalogue website. You can copy down the address on the screen, but really the easiest way to access it, I find, is to search LibCat Glasgow, and the very first thing that comes up is our catalogue. And once you're on there, as you can see in the screenshot, we've circled business in red. If you just click in business, that'll take you to our business pages. I'm going to draw your attention to a few things on the business pages. The first thing I'm going to draw your attention to is our coronavirus business support page. So that's one of the first things you come to on our page. I've got a wee screenshot of it here on the screen for you. That gives up-to-date information and advice from the Scottish Government, UK Government, Glasgow City Council, and various other agencies that are providing various kinds of support for you throughout you and other business owners throughout the coronavirus pandemic. So there's financial support available. There's also support in terms of information about the restrictions in your area and so on available. We've also got some remote webinars because we know that not everyone's able to go out just now. So we choose some remote webinars every week that we recommend that you may want to attend. And as well as that, we've also put together a little guide to useful software because we know that not everyone is as used to using this online software that such as Zoom and so on that suddenly becomes such a big part of our lives, both business and personal lives. And we know that not everyone is entirely comfortable with using it, so we have put together a wee guide to how to use that software and how to get access to it. So as you can see in the slide here, most of what we're going to be looking at today is in our business information resources section. Now we've got several sections in the business part of our website. We've got a blog, we've got our experts in residence, we've got case studies as well of people that have worked with us and become successful in the past. And then we have some more specific things such as protecting your intellectual property and your ideas. But most of the resources we're going to look at, except for PowerUp, which you're going to see in a moment, will be under business information resources. So that's, if you want to follow along online as I speak, that's really where you want to be looking. All right, so the very first resource I'm going to draw your attention to is our PowerUp resource. So PowerUp is a project that we are doing in conjunction with JP Morgan to connect you to free learning and support opportunities to develop the digital skills that you need to run and grow your business. We can help you improve your web presence, sell online, adopt cloud solutions, and streamline your business practices. These are the kind of things that we're offering. Because the idea behind this project is that not everyone is as comfortable with digital business solutions as others, and it's something that can really enhance your business, really make your life easier, but also open up new markets for you and stuff like that. So this is what we want to help you with in our PowerUp project. And to do that, we are offering you access to a digital skills directory, which connects you with free learning opportunities across all the topics I just mentioned. We've also got some PowerUp guides, which again cover the topics I just mentioned, including online resources and so on to help you understand them. And of course, the online resources I'm going to be showing you in this presentation are part of our PowerUp project, because it is all about digital skills and improving your digital business skills. So do pay attention if you are looking to update your digital skills, because this presentation will really help you out. And then of course, we've got our online inquiry service, as we do for everything else. So if you need help with digital business skills, just email us at business@glasgowlife.org.uk for personalised help. You can see in the screen there just a wee look at our PowerUp page, which is also accessible from the main business section. So you can see we've got our support directory by topic and also A to Z. We've got our workshops and events. We've got another link to our information resources, because those are such an important part of our offer. And then we've also got our digital marketing expert in residence, who can help people who are either starting out in business or who have worked in non-digital marketing or have engaged in non-digital marketing campaigns, but would like to move into the digital world and see if they can get a new customer base that way. All right, so we'll move on to our main external resources just now. So you'll see on your screen that I've got our business and funding e-resources page up just now. The link is there on the page if you like. This is just a list of all of our external resources in alphabetical order. They're very easy to access. All you need to do is click on the little logo to get access. Not all of them are accessible from home, as I've said, but I will make very clear in the talk which ones are accessible from home and how to access them from home. If you are having any trouble with that at all, just email us business@glasgowlife.org.uk, because sometimes links can drop and things like that, and it's a very, very easy fix for us to get you online if you're having a little bit of trouble. So I'm going to begin by talking about Cobra. Cobra stands for Complete Online Business Reference Advisor. It is continually updated, very easy to use directory of business information. It's particularly popular with people starting up, but it's also useful for people with established businesses already. You can access this in full from home. All you need to do is click on Cobra on our website and then put in your library card number. That's all you need. That's all I ask for. Once you do that, you'll get full access. And when you have full access, you can read their information articles online, but you can also download them as PDFs, send them to yourselves, save them on your computer for later, and anything you like. Really, this is one of the reasons it's such a good resource is that the information can be shared so easily with yourself and with friends. So I'm going to look at a couple of different sections on Cobra. It's got several. I'm not going to look at them all just in terms of time, because this is only a 45-minute presentation, and really I could spend the whole time talking about Cobra very, very easily. So I'm going to talk about the coronavirus updates. I'm going to talk about their business opportunity profiles, their business information fact sheets, and their local area profiles as well. Those are the ones I'll talk about in detail, and some others that I'll mention. So you can see on the screen here, I've got the coronavirus updates page up. And this and all the other sections I'm going to talk about are very easy to access just by clicking on the links in the left-hand side menu. So I've clicked on coronavirus updates here, and I've given you a wee screenshot of what you see when it comes up. So it's got several sections, the coronavirus updates. It's got weekly news briefings, which give you a kind of overview of what's going on with coronavirus in different parts of the country and how it's affecting businesses. It has sector updates, which talk about specific businesses. So you can see in the screenshot there, you've got recruitment, you've got taxi and private hire services, you've got advertising and marketing, and all of these sectors will be affected by coronavirus because really it affects everything. But they're each affected in different ways. And these documents go into a bit more detail about how the specific sector has been affected by coronavirus and how to run your business in that sector as safely as possible for you and for your customers as well. And then they also have business information fact sheets, which we'll cover in more detail in a moment. But they have specific ones which detail government support, the job retention scheme, things like that, and any other support that becomes available, any other information that becomes available about things offered by both the UK, the Scottish, and local government. Next thing we're going to have a look at are our business opportunity profiles. Now, as I said, you can access them from the left-hand menu. But what I've also done is just shown you what it looks like when you search for a keyword. And you can search by typing in the search bar on the top right-hand side. When you search for a keyword, you get up the list that you see on the screen here before you. They're very, very easy to access. You just click on the name and you'll get up the web page, or you click on the little Adobe icon and you can get up the PDF. Now, if we go to this next slide here, you'll see that I've taken a screenshot of a business opportunity profiles. Now, these are an excellent starting point for any business. They are documents, usually about 15 to 20 pages long, that go into detail about how to start a business in that specific area. So here on the screen, I've got the example of a bookshop. So it goes into everything that you need to know if you're thinking about starting up a bookshop, everything from legislation you need to follow to how to choose your shop site. They all start with a pretty lengthy introduction that goes into detail about the sector and about the type of business. That's then followed by a qualifications and skills section. This is one of the best bits about Cobra, in my opinion. Of course, the qualifications and skills section has required qualifications. So, for example, if you're running a dentistry business or a law firm, there may be qualifications that you're required to have. But for businesses such as bookshops where you don't need to have any qualifications, it also has some lists of possible qualifications you may want to undertake to update your knowledge in the sector. It's not affiliated with any of the websites it suggests, any of the learning opportunities it suggests. It tells you how much they cost, it gives you a link to them, and it's up to you if you want to follow that link. It's completely up to you. As well as that, they have key market issues and trends, which go into detail about what's going on in the business, that particular business at the moment. And that could be anything from coronavirus to changing of supply prices and so on. It also has a lengthy trading and commercial and legal issues section, which goes into detail about professional bodies, professional ethics, how to deal with contracts, HR, hiring people, licensing, any insurances that you need to think of, all the little kind of niggly things that when you're first having your idea for your business that you may not have considered, Cobra consider for you. Below that, they also have any legislation that you must comply with, which, as you may imagine, for some businesses is quite lengthy and for some is a bit shorter. And it will have links to any relevant government websites for that legislation so that you can read it in detail. So that's the business opportunity profiles. They're absolutely fantastic. Even if you have an established business, I'd recommend taking a look at the one for your area. Very easy to search. If you can't find them on the search, do give us an email, because we are very used to using this resource, so we may be able to find it if you can. But even if we can't find it, do bear in mind that this is a continuously updated resource, so they're often adding new businesses, particularly as they kind of become popular or become more common. The next thing we're going to look at are the business information fact sheets. Now, while the business opportunity profiles look at a specific type of business, the business information fact sheets instead look at a wide variety of business topics that could apply to various businesses. So everything from taxes, hiring people, renting accommodation or office space, and indeed the coronavirus support schemes that are available. And the information fact sheet that I put up on the screen here, that is for the job support scheme, the coronavirus job support scheme. They're very similar layout, as you can see, to the business opportunity profiles. They're a bit shorter, usually 5 or 6 pages, and they have lots of links to any relevant external websites that you may want to follow up. They are also continually updated, so you can see this job support scheme one here on the screen. So this job support scheme was supposed to start on the 1st of November, and there were some changes in England with regards to the second lockdown and so on, so it's been pushed back a little bit to December because it's been replaced by the furlough scheme, and this has already been updated at the time of recording, which is very, very fast. So they really do keep up to date with what's going on to make sure that they've got the most up-to-date information for you. The last thing I want to have a wee look at here are the local area profiles. Now, these are profiles of support available in your local area. You access it by the left-hand menu. You can also search by place. But if you access it by the left-hand menu, you just go through a series of options, get more specific each time. So you'll start with Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, or Wales. Say you select Scotland, then Highlands or Lowlands. Say you select Lowlands, then you've got a list of all the Lowland cities and major towns and the support available there. I put up the Glasgow one just because that's my local one. And you can see that it's got a variety of different business support here. So it's got us on it, the BIPC. It's also got Business Gateway. It's got Clyde College Glasgow, but then it's also got databases of business properties. It's got BioCity, which provides incubator units and special support. It's even got some financial support available. So it really does go into detail of what's available in your local area. So to summarize, Cobra benefits, you can access it from home using your library card. They have up-to-date, continuously updated profiles. They have information about the coronavirus crisis. They have information that can be downloaded and read offline, so you can read it on the bus or whatever. And information about help available in your local area. And it also has various other sections, but if you'd like some detail about those, such as the business legal library and so on, just email us at business@glasgowlife.org.uk. The next thing we're going to have a wee look at is IBIS World. So again, that's available on the list of resources that you saw on our website. This has very limited availability at home. It only has some profiles available at home. In general, you need to come into the Mitchell Library to get access, or you can email us and we can lift some of the information for you and send it out to you on a limited basis. So what is IBIS World? Well, it's industry market research and risk ratings. It provides information about supply chains, key success factors, barriers to entry, the geographic distribution of industries. And when I say industries, I mean it in a much broader sense than Cobra. So while you saw bookshops in Cobra, IBIS World doesn't have a profile for bookshops, but what it does have a profile for is book publishing or book and magazine selling, the much wider industries. And they're also UK wide. So they have information about all the financial aspects of any industry throughout the whole UK. They also have UK Brexit impact statements and coronavirus impact statements. So they have little couple of paragraphs long for each industry as to how they're being impacted by these two kind of big events that are happening right now in the UK. They also have a lot of graphical analyses as well for reports and presentations. So you can lift those, use them for presentations as long as you cite IBIS World. You can use them in business plans as well. They have video tutorials, and you can print and export some of the information as a PDF. Now, I'm going to just show you an example one on the screen here. So I've chosen book publishing in the UK. Whatever you click on, whatever industry you click on, it's very easy just using the search bar to search for keywords. You will get up a page like this. So the About page starts with the coronavirus impact update. And then if we move down, it has the definition of the industry, some main activities, similar industries, and key external drivers affecting those industries. Because of course, no industry exists in a vacuum. You know, they're all affected by different industries, either in their supply chain or in the chain as they sell on as well. I'm just going to switch here to the list of chapters on IBIS World. So it's usually better to show this as a live demonstration, but I'm showing it just as slides just now, just so you get a wee idea. So the left-hand side of any page, any industry report, you get up this. You get this list. It's kind of like an ebook. This list of sections. So you can either search within the report if you're looking for specific information, or you can look through every chapter. Now I'll go through very, very briefly and just describe each chapter and what they have in them. So the industry at a glance has some really useful graphs looking at the industry over the past year in terms of its turnover, in terms of whether it's growing or shrinking, that kind of thing. The industry performance, again, goes into some more detail about how the industry's been doing over the last few years, gives some finance, gives some numbers. And again, those numbers are for the whole UK and for that whole industry. So you need to do some digging to get into detail about how it would affect your specific business. They also have the industry outlook. So what's great about IBIS World compared to some of the other resources is that it looks ahead to 2025 and tells you how it thinks things are going to be. So it projects ahead. So it goes from 2015 to 2020. That's usually the numbers that they have, and then they project another 5 years in the future. And the industry outlook has a look at where the industry is going just now, the challenges it's facing, and where the writers of the report expect it to be in the next few years. Products and markets goes into detail about about which products sell well, which products sell the most in this industry, and where they're selling as well. Competitive landscape and major companies goes into a bit of detail about how things look in this industry. So, of course, there's some industries that I'm sure you can think of, such as supermarkets, where there are a few very big players and maybe some smaller players on the side. And what these sections do is go into detail about what percentage of the market each of these larger companies has, and then it usually has a little paragraph about each of the larger companies talking about what it's been doing in the past few years and what it expects to do in the future, because of course these will be your competitors if you're starting up in this area. And then at the very bottom there, they've got key statistics, and the key statistics are just tables of numbers, everything from turnover to gross profits to number of employees over the past 5 years and looking into the future. So they're very, very good for you starting to put together financial plans for your business and get together the information that you need when you're planning ahead for yourself. And as I said, you can quote all of these numbers. You can use them in your business plans as long as you cite IBIS World when you do it. So that is our IBIS World reports. They're very, very straightforward to use, a very easy to use resource, and I'd say it's probably the easiest to use of all the resources I'm going to show. You just search for the keywords and then you read the report. It's as simple as that. And I'll note as well that they also have some webinars and stuff available on the site. Increasingly, after COVID, they have webinars. So do have a wee look at that as well. So to summarize, IBIS World benefits as it gives you expert analysis of industries. It gives you Brexit impact analysis and coronavirus impact analysis, so you can see what those events are doing, the effects they're having on your industry, either positive, negative, or neutral. And then it has graphs and data to help you develop your business plan as well. So it's very, very useful for the planning stages and for the market research stages. An excellent tool. As ever, if you have any problems using it, just email us at business@glasgowlife.org.uk. Now, the next resource we're going to take a wee look at is FAME. FAME stands for Financial Analysis Made Easy, and it's a resource provided by the Bureau van Dijk. What it does is it gives you financial and company information about over 5 million UK and Irish companies. What it can be used for is for researching competitors, looking at the directors and shareholders of different companies. It can also be used to make customizable and targeted marketing lists. And I'll talk about that a little bit, but I should note that we have a FAME workshop that we're hoping to have up and running again very soon that goes into more detail about this. And of course, in the meantime, you can always email us at business@glasgowlife.org.uk. It's not available from home, to be clear. Of all the resources, this is the one that is the most, that has the least available remotely. Now, we can at the moment provide limited read-only support with FAME remotely, but generally you'll need to either come into the Mitchell, or if the Mitchell's closed, email us and ask us to get the information for you. And we do have a small charge for the information that we provide. So the benefits of FAME is it has far more information than, for example, Companies House. Because when I said it had a directory of companies, you were probably immediately thinking of Companies House, and that has information available for free. Well, FAME has a lot more information available, and you're going to see that when we go through the slides here. The information can be downloaded and read offline, and then it can also be specified to your local area. So it's a very malleable tool. It's a bit tricky to use at first, but once you get used to it, it's very, very useful. And that's why we have a specific workshop for it, because it's just a little bit tricky to get used to at first. But once you get used to it, it's an excellent tool that really allows you to target your market research in a way that no other tool really does. So the first thing we're going to take a wee look at is producing lists. So you'll see on the screen here, I've got the homepage of FAME. This is what comes up when you go into it. And as I mentioned, one of the useful parts about it is that you can produce marketing lists. So I'll give you an example. If you were opening a window cleaning business in a part of Glasgow, you may want to have a wee look and see how many businesses are available in that part of Glasgow that are kind of smaller, that maybe don't have in-house window cleaners that you could target. What FAME can do is it can get that information for you and also provide contact details from them. And all the contact details are reliably sourced, and you're free to use them. They are GDPR compliant, so they're very, very useful. And this is probably the trickiest bit of FAME, building these searches. But you can see here you've got a lot of options here. So if we were talking about the example I mentioned, you would maybe start by looking at address and region, as you can see in the right hand side there, and then maybe moving down to activities and industry, and maybe financials, so that you can get a certain size of company as well. Really, these lists can be as specific as you want them to be. There is no limit to the specificity. You can even search, for example, by the age of the CEO. I'm always surprised by how many options there are to search by in FAME. So I mentioned our FAME workshop that we'll hopefully have up and running soon. But if you want more information about this, if you want some help building a search, just email us at business@glasgowlife.org.uk. Now, the next thing that FAME has is company reports. Now, these are very easy to access. You'll see a search bar at the top of the screen here on the left-hand side. In that, you just type in a company name, and it will provide you with options in a drop-down menu. When you see the one you're looking for, click on that, and you'll get a page like this. So I've used the example that we usually use, which is of a local Scottish company called Brewdog, an alcohol company. Um, when you open up a company's page, this is what you'll see. You get an initial one-page report, and that one-page report has the address, it has a date of incorporation, it has a turnover and a net income. You'll see in the next slide here that it has the ownership tree, any sanctions that are against the companies, the evolution of the turnover. It has a wee financial profile as well. And then this third slide here, you'll see that it has the directors, it has a useful tool that collates news stories from the past year, and it has a credit score tool as well. Now, this is just a snapshot of the information that's actually available in the full report. Not every company has as much information as others. The bigger the company, the more likely it is to have a lot of information for you. So Brewdog's a fair size, so we've got a fair amount of information there. But when you're looking for more information, if you'll see at the left-hand side here, you've got a wee menu, and it looks very much like the IBIS World menu, and it is very much like the IBIS World menu. As with IBIS World, you can search for the information you're looking for, or you can go through the different chapters. So you've got company profile, financials, peer comparison, where it looks at how it's doing compared to other companies of the same size, stock data, if there is any, directors and contacts, corporate ownership trees, any news and deals that are going on about them, so you keep aware of when you're doing your market research of what's going on with other companies. And it's also got access to original documents in terms of their financial returns as well. So these are usually bigger companies have these, but you can take a wee look at those and go into quite a lot of detail researching companies. Why would you want to do this? Well, you may want to research competitors, yes. So you may be starting up a business in a similar area and want to see where a company that is maybe reasonably new is after a few years, so that you can start preparing your own financial projections. But you may also be working with that company, and you may want some information about them before you start a working relationship. And that's why, for example, the credit score is very useful. It keeps you up to date with how this company is doing financially. And if you look at it and the financials are quite healthy, then maybe you feel a bit more comfortable in dealing with the company in the future. So that was a very quick whistle-stop tour of FAME. As I said, we have a workshop about it that will hopefully be running soon, and then if you email us, we can provide you with more information and help you use it for your specific needs. The benefits are, as you'll see on the screen, it's got far more information than what's publicly available in Companies House. It has access to company financials, ownership data, and more, all in one place, so very easy to access. It's got the ability to build a list of contact details for specific businesses easily and quickly. I didn't mention, but it's also got access to market line industry reports, which give kind of similar reports to IBIS World, but maybe a bit more detailed. And the final point, and this is important, it's really expensive to purchase for an individual business. If you were to get this for yourself, it would cost you quite a lot of money, but we provide it for free, our read-only access for free, and you can get all that information without spending a penny. So it really is a fantastic deal. And as well as that, you've got someone to help you use it as well, because as I said, it can be a bit of a tricky resource. All right, so that brings us to the end of the resources we're going to look at in detail. But what I'm going to do now for the last 10 minutes or so is just go very quickly through some of our smaller resources, or some of our easier to use resources, and describe them. Now, bear in mind with all of these that we can give you more information if you email us at business@glasgowlife.org.uk. So if you feel that I've not covered something in detail enough, do email and we can have a chat and I can help you out a bit more. So I'm going to start with British Standards. British Standards Online gives you access to thousands and thousands of British standards, British manufacturing standards, and British standards that you need to comply with when you're making products. So it ensures the quality and safety of your products. It adds value to your business because you can assert that you're following the British standards. And you can access this completely free. Now, the access is slightly different to, say, Cobra. What you need to do is, as you see at the top of the screen here on our website, you need to click Join Login, the pink button, type in your username and password, your library card number and password, and then when you click on British Standards Online, you'll get full access. If you have any trouble accessing it, just let us know. It's very, very straightforward to use. You'll see at the top right-hand side there, there's a search box. You can search either by the British Standards number if you have it and you just want to read it, or by topic if you're looking to research what British standards apply to you. It's easy to log in, it's easy to check, and it gives you completely free access, again, to something that can cost quite a lot for businesses, small businesses, to get on their own. The next resource we're going to look at is Law and Business. This can be accessed from home in full. Law and Business gives you the latest news and information about changes to the law around business in the UK. Now, it was always a bit of a quiet website, but over the past year or so, it's got a lot more traffic. The reason it's got a lot more traffic is because there's all sorts of things happening to businesses in the UK with regards to coronavirus, to Brexit, and more. So it's a really great place to just go and check, without any distraction of other news sites, what's going on in the business world. And if you just check it daily, you can kind of keep yourself up to date. What you see on the screen here is pretty representative of what you'll see when you open it. Just a list of articles you can search by category, by tag, or by keyword. And yeah, it's very, very straightforward to use. But of course, if you have any problems with it, just let us know. The next thing we're going to take a wee look at is ProQuest. So ProQuest is a key business and management database. It has journals, dissertations, newspapers, reports, and it's very similar to Cobra in terms of access. You click on it and then you type in your library card number and you have full access. And also, like Cobra, the articles are all downloadable. So you can download them as a PDF and send them back out to yourself, save them on your computer, read them offline, whatever you want to do. It also connects to reference management systems such as RefWorks. So if you're looking for citations, if you're maybe working on something a bit more academic, it's a great tool for that as well. And as well as that, it gives free access to some very expensive journals, but also newspapers. So you get daily access to the Financial Times and to The Economist as well, if you want to read those. So you may be asking, why wouldn't I just use Google for this? Well, aside from the magazines and journals that I've just talked about, ProQuest also has a really excellent advanced search, which allows you to specify the kind of content that you want your search to return, as well as language, date, author, journal, and more. You can search by newspaper, by publication. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, our business section has 3 databases on ProQuest. It's called the ABI Inform Collection. One is called Dateline, which has local and regional news and information. One is called Global, which has strategies, management, finance, and trends. One's called Trade and Industry, which has company reports, products, and sectors. And you can search them individually, as you'll see in the screenshot here. You can click on them to search the database individually, or you can search all 3 together in the ABI Inform Complete section. So it's a really excellent resource, and it's extremely user-friendly as well. The search is very easy to use. The journals are very easy to download. But if you do have any problem with it, as ever, just send us a wee email and we can sort it out for you. The next thing is very similar. It's called Access to Research. Access to Research gives you free access to journals and magazines on a variety of business subjects. It's a wee bit more aimed at the academic market than ProQuest is, but it's still a really useful resource. Now, at home, you can view it and view abstracts, but you can't read articles. If you want to read articles, you're going to need to come in to the Mitchell Library to do that. But if you come in, we'll be happy to help you. And if you want to have a wee look before you come in at what you're looking for, read the abstracts and make sure that you know what you want to find. That'll make things even easier for you and for us. And that's accessible from any Glasgow Library computer. And I should say that all the resources are accessible from any Glasgow Library computer. So you don't need to be in the Mitchell Library, although we're very happy to have you. You don't actually need to be in the Mitchell Library to access them. The very last thing I'm going to take a wee look at is Funds Online. Funds Online is a funding research tool. So you'll see in the screenshot here that you answer some questions that they have, and then they provide you with a list of funding opportunities that are available. Now, a lot of these have their own application processes and so on. What Funds Online does, it tells you that if you are eligible or not, and it tells you some details about their criteria and about how to apply for them. Again, that can only be accessed in the Mitchell Library, but it really is an excellent resource if you're looking for initial funding. It's particularly good if you're starting a charity or a social enterprise. It's very, very useful for that. And the last resource I'm going to look at are our industry and technology guides. I'm just going to look at it very quickly. So you may think of them a little bit like Cobra. They take a specific industry and they talk about how to use Glasgow Library and BIPC and PowerUp resources to start up in that specific industry. You access it by going to our business information resources, as you see on the screen, and clicking industry guides. And then you can see from the examples here, these are the kind of things we have: cycling industry, social enterprises, charities, we have the book selling industry and so on. These are continually updated and they're written by us. So A, if you don't see what you're looking for, check back another time because it may be there in the future. B, if there's something you'd really like to see, just email us and let us know, and we'll see if we can add that to our schedule and see if we can make something like that for you. Just going to finish off by pointing out some of the local support that's available. So we've got Business Gateway there. That's publicly funded service providing access to free business support services. It can help with your coronavirus applications, and it has a variety of free webinars, particularly now in the coronavirus period. There's loads and loads of free webinars available every single day on a variety of subjects to help you out. And if you would like to get in touch with them, just email us and we can refer you to them. Jobs and Business work with small businesses, particularly those run by people who were previously unemployed, to improve their resilience and create jobs. They provide business planning advice, including advice for funding and finding premises. Scottish Enterprise, that you'll see on the screen there, has some really good articles and webinars. People's Plus can provide some financial support to those on benefits. And Princess Trust is fantastic if you're under 30 and starting a business. Princess Trust can help you out in a variety of ways with support and mentorship as well. And then, of course, if you're starting in the creative industries, then Creative Entrepreneurs Club is a really great resource to look at. Well, that brings us pretty much to the end of the presentation. Thank you very much for attending today. I'm just going to remind you with this screen about our feedback. We would really love to see everyone send back their feedback. So when you do get sent the forms for Startup Day 2020 feedback, please do take the time to fill it out and send it back to us. We really do appreciate it, and we really do take the feedback very, very seriously. And then the very last thing I'm going to do is just summarize where you can access the resources. So you're seeing the screen here. You can access FAME by emailing us at business@glasgowlife.org.uk or by coming into the library. Access to research and funds online can only be accessed in the library. And Cobra, British Standards, ProQuest, Law and Business, IBIS World with limited access, and access to research abstracts can all be accessed from home. So we really do have a fantastic, very long list of resources available from home. And that, of course, includes our PowerUp resources as well. So thank you very much for attending this Startup Day webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot. If you have any questions at all about any of our resources, if you would like to come and visit us in the Mitchell Library, if you would like to arrange a phone call or a one-to-one research session, then please do email us at business@glasgowlife.org.uk. Thank you very much for coming.